Hello and welcome to New Central Television. I am Likon Onobanjo. The headlines at this hour. Liberia's new president, Boakai, vows to tackle graft as he takes oath as president. Federal High Court in Abuja nullifies 2024 budget signed into law by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken lands in Cape Verde for first leg of four-country African tour. Details to come your way shortly. We begin the news at this hour in West Africa, where Joseph Boakai was sworn in as president of Liberia on Monday following his election victory over erstwhile president and former professional soccer player George Weah. As the newly inaugurated president, Boakai's administration will focus on addressing Liberia's ongoing challenges called poverty and corruption. At age 79, Boakai takes office amid high expectations to improve living standards and governance. Neo Money provides further details.
So help me God.
At age 79, Joseph Boakai was sworn in as Liberia's president on January 22, 2024, after a narrow victory in the second round of voting in November 2023. This makes him the oldest person ever to assume the nation's highest office. His election marks a transition of leadership as he succeeds George Weah, Liberia's youngest elected president. Boakai brings decades of experience to the role, having served as vice president from 2006 to 2018 under former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. He was defeated by Weah in the 2017 presidential election. In his inaugural address, President Boakai outlined his priorities to address Liberia's most pressing challenges.
Our plan to fix the ills we are inheriting must go together with realistic expectations. We will act in the first 100 days of our administration and then diligently pursue the rescue mission. We are here to rekindle your hope, to reposition us on the national pathway.
However, there was brief concern when he paused during his speech due to a minor medical issue. While the 2023 elections were an important milestone that reinforced Liberia's democratic reforms, the health scare cast a dark shadow on his ability to rule. The new administration faces significant obstacles, including poverty, corruption, and effect of past conflict, as many expect reforms that will improve living standards, sustain stability, and economic opportunity for all Liberians. In Lagos for News Central, Ni Omani.
Meanwhile, Joseph Boakai has said his vision is to transform Liberia into a prosperous and peaceful nation where all citizens can enjoy their rights and freedom and where government serves the public interest. Boakai mentioned this on Sunday at his Thanksgiving service at Efforts Baptist Church in the Painesville area of the country. Boakai says he's thankful for the honor given to him while assuring Liberians of a better life.
Leading to the swearing-in of Liberia's 25th president, Joseph Boakai, on the 22nd of January 2024, was first his Thanksgiving and intercessory service held at the Effort Baptist Church in Painesville, Liberia. The president-elect, who served as the former vice president under the first female Liberian president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, described his journey to the presidency as a long one. He, however, says he's determined to help millions of Liberians who have been left to face abject poverty and insecurity. Mr. Boakai also seized the opportunity to remind the people of his campaign promises, including fighting corruption, boosting agricultural production, bringing down the cost of food, and improving the country's roads.
If anybody is ever dissatisfied with the way our country has been going, I had had that as a burden. And I want to say to all Liberians listening to your voice today, and I know that as much as we think, we still have a lot of good people in this country, people who love their country, people who would like to see a better Liberia. And I want to say to all of them today, this is a commitment all of us should make. God has given us a country that is well endowed. The people of this country must enjoy the benefit of this country.
The former president of Liberia, Ellen Sirleaf, and other eminent personalities present at the occasion were full of accolades as they noted the contributions of the former vice president, while being optimistic that he will do a better job as president and take the country to greater heights.
We want a change until we get into power. We want to do it, but give us it and it becomes an opportunity to steal. So I wanted this message to get out to our consciousness and provoke that change that is needed, that we want, but feel unable to actually provide for the next generation.
Liberia has, in my view, has gone back to, in terms of our economy, in terms of hardship, I think we retrogressed. We went back. And I'm hoping that I'm not hoping for a miracle, but I'm hoping that Liberia can get better.
I'm an electrical engineering student, and you don't see more job opportunities for we the engineers in Liberia. That's why more people go out to go and get foreign engineers to come and do the job. So in my own field, I hope that there will be a lot of opportunities for us, the young engineers coming up.
Born in November 1944 into what many have called humble beginnings, Joseph Boakai served as Liberia's agriculture minister under the then President Samuel Doe in the 1980s. Mr. Boakai also oversaw programs to decentralize agriculture by creating regional hubs, a flagship project in Liberia where many people are subsistence farmers.
Staying in West Africa, the Federal High Court in Abuja has nullified the 800 billion naira 2024 budget signed into law by the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. In December, the governor had presented an 800 billion naira 2024 appropriation bill to a faction of the State House of Assembly comprising 4 lawmakers. Following the passage of the budget by the lawmakers, Fubara subsequently signed the budget into law. The Rivers Assembly became factionalized following a move by 27 lawmakers loyal to ex-governor Nyesom Wike to impeach Fubara. The presiding judge, James Omotosho, held that everything done by the 4 lawmakers was null and void. The court also recognized Martin Amaiwile as the Speaker of the State Assembly. At this point, to further discuss this, I'm joined by Engineer Biokpo Awara, former AAC governorship candidate, Rivers State. Thank you so much, Engineer Awara, for talking to us. You will need to unmute your device.
It is.
Okay, we can hear you now. So what are your thoughts on the court's decision to declare the appropriation bill presented by the Rivers State governor illegal?
It's very unfortunate. Why I say it's unfortunate is that you remember these 4 lawmakers did not just get up to pass or make any appropriation that the governor signed. A court of competent jurisdiction gave them, recognized their speaker as the authentic speaker. And this was passed. So I'm surprised that a court of competent jurisdiction will void an action being taken by the support of the court. But I'm not surprised. Justice Omotosho has been known for controversial judgment, so I'm not surprised.
Well, without having to cast aspersion on the person of the judge that delivered the judgment, we will need to also understand what implications do you think this decision might have for the state government and the legislature?
It means that whatever action that have been taken after the the bill was signed into law is now null and void. Let me also put it to that those money that has been spent because the bill has been signed into law, how do you get them back? So it's just a waste of time, waste of resources, waste of Rivers people's time that these two people are just playing with, as if Rivers State is not governed properly. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that this bill will be sent to people that have defected. We don't even know their legality. For these people to even pretend over a new budget, we don't know their legality because they have defected, and their status is being challenged in court. So I'm just wondering what is happening in Rivers State.
But then, Engineer Awara, don't you think
Rivers State House of Assembly?
Don't you think what is playing out in Rivers State is as a result of the pact that the governor signed with the president? Of course, there was an agreement reached while he intervened. So don't you think is a script being played? And of course, the governor having to align with this particular agreement he had?
I totally agree with you. You know, the president made a statement. One of the eyewitnesses said, the president said, there is consequence if not obeying that the so-called agreement. So the governor is trying all that he could to make sure that he implements this agreement. Be very assured that the governor still has a Supreme Court judgment that is coming up this week. So he does not know his status, and he does not know he does not know where the consequence will come from. So possibly that's why you have to find a way to please the president. Perhaps you will have judgment at the Supreme Court. All this, but it's something that I don't even trust that the governor will obey. So I'm just confused. The state is just in a confused state.
Well, to wrap things up, do you think it would have any impact at all whatsoever on the administration of Rivers State in terms of governing Rivers State, governance and the people? Do you think it would have any effect at all on them?
The effect it will now bring, foreign direct investments, you will not have easily in Rivers State because no investor will want to come into a place that is full of confusion. So for sure, until these things are sorted out, no meaningful progress will come up in Rivers State. Just payment of civil servant salary. No developmental project will be carried out. Because as we speak now, there is no budget. And we are almost to the end of January. Possibly the budget might be prepared and sent next week. How many days will they take to vet it? So Rivers State is just in a confused state. For a month, we'll be in a defaced, in a state where nobody wants to come in to put in his money. And I might not be surprised. Investors will move to Abia State, which is a close by to Rivers State, and invest there. Our internal generated revenue will come down. It's a pity. It's a pity that Rivers State is in this kind of state because somebody wants to control Rivers State. Another one said, I will not allow you control. If the former governor loves Rivers State, he should put his ambitions and all his activities that is inimical to Rivers State away and look for the progress of Rivers State. He has offended people before they forgave him. We should forgive the governor if that is the problem. But we pray that Toyin Cole should win his case in Supreme Court. So all these things be put to rest.
Engineer Biopo Awara, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome.
Now, staying in Rivers State, the police command says 3 of its officers who kidnapped and extorted the sum of $3,000 from 2 men would face an orderly room trial and query. The spokesperson for the command, Grace Iringe Koko, while parading the suspects before newsmen in Port Harcourt on Monday, said the action is part of internal disciplinary measures taken against operatives involved in unlawful activities. He also said the money, equivalent to 4.2 million naira, has been recovered and handed over to the owners. Recall that the policemen, including 2 assistant superintendents of police and an inspector, had whisked their unsuspecting victims to 3 states before dispossessing them of the said sum, equivalent to 4.2 million naira. You're watching news now. We're going on a short break. We'll be back with more. To security matters now, the kidnapped daughters of the Al-Qadriyas abducted on Tuesday, January the 2nd, 2024, at the Boakai Area Council of Nigeria's capital, Abuja, have finally been reunited with their family. Inside sources say a 70 million naira ransom was paid to effect their release, though the Nigeria Police Force is claiming this followed a joint operation between the police and the military. Marvelous Obomanu visited the family and tells us more.
Taste of freedom, and how does it feel to be confined in an unknown place for 18 days? This is the story of El Qadriya and his 5 daughters that were kidnapped from their home in the Boakai Area Council, a suburb of Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, on January the 2nd, following the inability to raise a 60 million naira ransom as demanded by the kidnappers. One of the 5 girls, Nabiha El Qadriya, was murdered in cold blood, which sparked a national uproar. With the ransom finally paid, the other 4 girls, alongside 7 other captives from 4 different families, were finally reunited with their loved ones.
Immediately, my friend discovered that there is a robbery attack. That's what he presumed it was. He put a distress call to his junior brother, Abdul Fatai, and that one immediately swung into action. He contacted the police, mobilized the police. He went to the scene of but unfortunately, they were ambushed. He was gunned down.
This is the exact junction where police operatives and the kidnappers had a gun duel. Unfortunately, a younger brother to the victim, Abdul Fattah, lost his life. And then, of course, the 3 mobile police officers who came with him for the rescue operation were badly injured. And then 2 days after, one of the police officers lost his life. Now, if you look closely, we can still see some broken glasses on the ground. News Central visited the residence of the El Qadriyas as part of its efforts to follow up on the case. Now we're here at this compound, and what we noticed so far when we came here is that we can still see some broken, glasses on the floor. And of course, when you look at this particular building, right through into the wall was where a bullet penetrated inside. And of course, we also seen that the place where these kidnappers made their way into the compound is obviously showing at that gate side where you see those barbed wires folded down.
This is the state capital, and all this is happening at the nose of the federal government.
It is one too many cases of kidnapping in the Boakai Area Council and across the federal capital, Nigeria's seat of power, which many say ought to be the safest place in the country. They say the location of the kidnappers are known to residents and security agencies, but wonder why they are not being flushed out.
These guys it's a stone throw here. From here, you can't drive 15 minutes. That's their enclaves. They are there, as if they have found their own colony there.
I will just kindly solicit the approval of federal government for the bandits to grant them CAC approval so that we will know that they are established institution for business.
Although The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has warned against paying ransom to kidnappers. However, this becomes a tall order if you face a similar situation like the El Kadrias. Citizens say government should instead live up to its responsibility and ensure the protection of lives and property. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomman.
In southwest Nigeria, food vendors and end users of styrofoam food packs have kicked against the ban imposed by the Lagos state government on single-use plastics. The state government has urged all producers, distributors and end users of styrofoam packs to take the ban seriously and find alternatives or risk heavy fines and other penalties, including the sealing of their premises. Adeshewo Dushoga reports.
Styrofoam is an extruded polystyrene foam that is often made into insulation, packaging and food containers, such as beverage cups, egg cartons and disposable plates and trays. The most common form of styrofoam used in Nigeria are food containers, mostly used at eateries, local restaurants and even parties to package foods. But these styrofoam have now become a threat to the environment, particularly in Lagos, Nigeria, a city that generates over 13,000 metric tons of waste per day, most of which contains these plastics. They are found in canals, gutters, and sometimes in rare cases, floating on the surfaces of flooded areas and streets. To this effect, the Lagos state government has now placed a ban on the usage of this single-use plastic with immediate effect. The State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, who declared this via a social media platform, warned that producers of this plastic could also be made to bear the cost of the daily cleanup of their product from roads and drainage channels, which runs into tens of millions of naira daily.
So the issue also, which is our own challenge, quite frankly, is it also lies with our waste disposal system. You understand, and practices. What have we been able to get people how have we been able to get people to dispose of their waste within the system? At least being able to identify some of these single-use plastics that are recyclable and being able to dispose them in a very proper and appropriate manner that makes recycling easy.
However, some food vendors in Lagos are kicking against this ban, insisting that such a pronouncement should have been done with prior notice or a grace period.
Most of the shops that are selling all this pack, if you go to their shop, all this pack is very low, that they load it to their shop. If they said they will stop selling it, means it will affect them also. Because I don't know how they will do those markets. And the company that supplied those markets to them, I don't think they will still collect it back. They will talk to governments for them to give us more time. Then I will be happy, because so that those that have it in the shop will at least sell it even outside Lagos. They will go and supply all those markets.
The state government, through the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, has now called for the immediate implementation of the ban and the clampdown on production companies and distribution outlets of styrofoams across the state to prevent further distribution. In Lagos for News Central, Adeshewo Dushoga.
About 70% of Nigeria's population are under 30, and so efforts to equip these segments with entrepreneurial skills may be a sure way of getting the country on the right path of growth. Addressing this was said to be behind a business seminar held in Lagos. Chidinma Ona has more in this package.
Reports say there are approximately 582 million entrepreneurs globally, giving rise to a more capitalist global economy and at the same time, more failing businesses. With 20% of businesses failing within the first year and 50% failing within the first 5 years, there are concerns on what entrepreneurs could be doing wrong.
The young entrepreneurs have access to a lot of information that can help them. So, which is an asset to them, but unfortunately, that same asset is their liability as well.
A lot of people lose steam along the line. Maybe something came to distract them. Maybe they tried and they hit a brick wall and then they park, they forget about it. and then they are dealing with other issues.
Entrepreneurship without leadership is deemed a fruitless venture. The Rock Your 2024 Like a Champion event is designed to fill that gap, enabling a better functioning entrepreneur ecosystem, teaching people how to navigate life through practical leadership skills.
As an entrepreneur, the first challenge you have is actually leading yourself, not leading your team. So it's important to have leadership skills so that you can, one, lead yourself, because it's not like you have a boss that will be giving you tasks. You know, you have to be self-driven, self-motivated, self-disciplined.
At this time of the year, goal setting is an important factor for people. Only 8% of people achieve their goals, which has now become more like a yearly routine. Enabling the 92% to take off, sustain efforts and realize that set goals is now the challenge.
It's the start of the year, and it's important for any serious-minded individual or organization to ensure that they plug themselves into events and programs that would position you to ensure that you get all your 2024 goals. You need to be well prepared and well equipped to ensure that you are getting the year right.
Personal development, setting a goal for yourself at the beginning of the year and making sure that you tick those gaps that you've been able to achieve.
Write down action plans and make sure that these are very achievable, they are measurable, the action plans that I'm able to actually, track from time to time. So either monthly, quarterly, biannually, whatever it is. So that's really how I'm able to, or how I think I'll be able to achieve my goals at the end of the year.
Establishing a business around passion is crucial for entrepreneurs because at a turbulent period of consolidation, passion fuels sustenance. To achieve this, intentional and realistic processes are recommended for young entrepreneurs.
But I'll tell you that India is one of the few countries that is challenging the existing international order and reshaping the world amid the exclusive power by the West at a recent lecture organized by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs titled Resetting the Global Agenda, the Role of India and the Global South. India's Minister of External Affairs, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, had a lot to say. Betinan really was there and completes the reports.
Speaking at a lecture organized by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Lagos with the theme, Resetting the Global Agenda, the Role of India and the Global South. India's Minister of External Affairs, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, says the global agenda in many ways today is about restoring the world to its original state.
And it concerns them because whether we speak about our domestic policies at home or whether today we debate international relations abroad, the simple principle that must guide global governance, global conversations, global debates is a conviction that no one should be left behind. And when we speak about no one being left behind, I think the welfare of Africa is particularly important.
Jaishankar highlights 3 global challenges that had to be overcome in order to get along with the global agenda.
And these examples actually point us in a certain direction. They point us in the direction, obviously, of progress, where every society, in a manner in which it is itself comfortable, is able to advance, where prosperity is not the privilege of a few, where growth is robust, is sustainable, is green, where there is security, where there is stability, and where, as I said, the basic needs of food, of health, of energy are met, where climate action advances along with climate justice.
The Director General of NIIA, Professor Egosa Osage, says India is a great partner with Nigeria, adding that both nations have had larger global frameworks and networks, beginning with the non-aligned movement.
The whole point is that India is a global power
Nigeria is also a global power. Nigeria is Africa's biggest economy. Nigeria is Africa's biggest democracy. And therefore, a coming together of Nigeria and India, which has historically been very productive, is what we need to rekindle.
I think that India can share with other developing countries, not just in trade, but in how attitudes change that make for greater development.
India has been in the forefront of solidarity with Nigeria, considering that the country opened diplomatic ties with Nigeria 2 years before her independence. It remains to be seen what other positives will come out of these relations. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Coming up on the news, Cameroon starts world first malaria mass vaccine rollout. Details of this and other stories to come your way shortly. Many thanks for staying with us. We now tell you that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Cape Verde and has met with Prime Minister Ulysses Correa Silva to discuss the partnership between Cape Verde and the United States. Blinken says the partnership is based fundamentally on shared values as well as shared interests and a deep history together. The U.S. Secretary of State is touring 4 democracies on the Atlantic coast: Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, Nigeria and Angola, as security deteriorates in the Sahel and doubts grow about a key U.S. base in coup-hit Niger.
Eu gostaria de expressar o reconhecimento pelo apoio concedido durante a pandemia da Covid-19. As vacinas que os Estados Unidos da América concedeu a Cabo Verde foram determinantes nesse combate. E nós respondemos muito bem. Cabo Verde é dos países que tiveram maior alta taxa de vacinação em África. E estamos muito agradecidos pela resposta rápida, consistente dos Estados Unidos da América. Reconhecer mais um compacto do Millennium Challenge Account, uma distinção para o nosso país que valorizamos. Eu gostaria também de reconhecer o programa de parceria com o National Guard do estado de New Hampshire, na capacitação e assistência técnica da nossa guarda costeira. Eu mesmo pessoalmente estive a presenciar esta boa parceria. E queremos reforçar as nossas relações ao nível do diálogo político e diplomático, ao nível da atração de investimentos e exportação.
The United States is committed to deepening, to strengthening, to broadening our partnerships across Africa. Partnerships that benefit Africans and Americans alike. As President Biden has said, we are all in when it comes to Africa. You have been and you are a remarkable partner for the United States. And as you said, Prime Minister, this is a partnership that is based fundamentally on shared values as well as shared interests, and also a deep history together. Assistant Secretary Fee was just telling me of a Cabo Verdean who played a prominent role in our own civil war. And we have so much history since then, and very strong communities of Cabo Verdeans in the United States who contribute in remarkable ways to our country.
In Central Africa, Cameroon has launched the first malaria vaccine program to be offered nationwide and as a matter of routine. According to the World Health Organization, the mosquito-borne disease kills more than 600,000 people a year, mainly in Africa. Children under 5 years old account for more than 80% of deaths on the continent. Following a pilot phase, the RTS vaccine has been rolled out at scale across Africa, starting in Cameroon. The jab will be offered free of charge, according to the government, and systematically to all children under 6 months old at the same time as other obligatory or recommended vaccinations.
Un peu historique pour le vaccin contre le paludisme qui va être introduit au Cameroun. Ça fait longtemps qu'on attend un vaccin contre le paludisme. Il y a un demi-million d'enfants qui meurent par an en Afrique à cause du paludisme. Et ça y est, on est finalement au moment où ce vaccin va pouvoir être mis en place dans les pays africains. Pour moi, c'est vraiment un tournant. Ça fait très longtemps qu'on travaille sur le vaccin contre le paludisme. Ça a mis 30 ans. C'est une maladie qui est très difficile parce qu'elle est transmise par un parasite avec un cycle de vie qui est très compliqué. Et donc, de voir que vraiment on a un outil qui va pouvoir nous être utile, qui a une efficacité qui est démontrée, qui a une sûreté. On a vraiment étudié pour être sûr qu'il n'y avait pas d'effets secondaires qui poseraient des problèmes. Donc ce sont les moins de 5 ans qui sont les plus touchés par le paludisme. Et on va vacciner donc les enfants à partir de l'âge de 5 mois environ. Il y a 4 doses à donner. Et donc, on les donne, on les répartit sur la première et la deuxième année de vie. Et ça nous aide à...
Africa, the Zimbabwean government says it aims to unveil fresh measures to stem the currency slide on both the official and unofficial markets. The local dollar has fallen by 32% this year on the official market, making it the world's worst performing currency. It has fallen by more than 40% in the parallel market. Finance Minister Mthuli Nkobi attributed the weakening of the currency in the past few weeks to speculative behavior and scarcity of hard currency in the market during high demand season. He added that steps to support the ailing currency may include altering the foreign currency auction system. Now, Victor Boroma, an economist, joins me to unpack this latest development. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much. Good day to your viewers and listeners.
Now, what actions do you think the Zimbabwean Minister of Finance should take to address the root causes of the currency slide in Zimbabwe?
Thank you so much. That's a good question. For us to understand probably where we are, we need to understand the Zimbabwean economy as it is. So the Zimbabwean economy is a dual currency economy. So at the moment, 95% of the transactions that are happening in the economy are being done in the US dollar, which is in foreign currency. Then you have got about 5% which are being done in Zimbabwean dollar. So what is happening? Because of high levels of inflation, all market players or all economic players do not want to hold on to the local currency. So it's more or less a transitory currency, which people use for daily transactions, because you know that by the end of the day, it will have a different rate to the greenback by the end of the day. So in that particular scenario, what needs now to be done is to go back to the fundamentals, to go back to the basics. What is the cause of inflation in Zimbabwe? The major cause of inflation in Zimbabwe is quasi-fiscal operations by the central bank. So as you know, and obviously in global economics, the role of the central bank is largely as a regulator, obviously as a player in terms of managing the foreign exchange market. But the scenario that plays out in Zimbabwe is the central bank is more or less an extension of the government as a treasury. So what now happens is it's involved in quasi-fiscal operations. It could be financing gold buying. It could be financing tobacco production. It could be financing various other initiatives in the economy. So what this does is that it creates money in the economy. And that particular money which is being pumped into the economy is not growing at the level at which the economy is growing. So it creates pressure on the limited foreign currency which is available. It crowds out the private sector, which is the banking sector. So to go back to your question now, what does the Minister of Finance need to do? So what the Minister of Finance needs to do is to go back to the basics, where the central bank is not an extension of the government, number one. Then number two, the government would need to limit its expenditure to taxable revenue. So if taxable revenue, if we are looking at it in real terms to the US dollar, if taxable revenue in Zimbabwe is 4 billion, then what it means is expenditure would need to be below 4 billion so that it does not create the need for fiscal financing by the central bank. So those are two key fundamentals that need to happen. Then number three, Zimbabwe does not have a market-driven foreign exchange market. So if you don't have a market-driven foreign exchange market, there is no one who has got actually the authority to be able to set the market exchange. At the same time, you've got a situation where speculative buying or speculative holding of foreign currency is being done on the open market. So that means the rate is not stable. So in other countries or in the developed world, what you have got is banks have got a clearing house, which is more or less a managed foreign exchange market. That's what Zimbabwe needs, which is not controlled by the central bank. Once you've got that, then it unlocks supply of foreign currency. Those are three key things that the minister would need to do in order to address the challenge that is in the economy.
Well, we've also heard of advice sort of coming from stakeholders or financial experts saying that the central bank governor may need to also diversify the country's economy to reduce reliance on a single currency. Do you think that should suffice at this time?
To diversify currencies or to diversify the economy? I didn't get your question clear.
Yes, that's to diversify the economy.
Oh, okay. Well, to diversify the economy, obviously, when you look at the macroeconomic development agenda of Zimbabwe, 90% of Zimbabwe's foreign currency revenue, which is close to about 8.5 billion, comes from mineral exports and tobacco exports. So that particular over-reliance on mineral exports is quite dangerous and it's not sustainable. And the reason why I say it's not sustainable is because these are raw minerals that are being exported. Zimbabwe is one of the best producers of platinum, gold, nickel, and lithium. So all these minerals are being exported to the Far East. They're being exported to South Africa, which is our key trading partner, in raw form. So what would need to happen, obviously, is the value addition of those minerals. I'll give you, for example, what happened in platinum. Zimbabwe is the biggest producer of platinum in Africa after South Africa, which is more or less third or fourth largest producer in the world. So what happened in 2014, the government made a deliberate effort to incentivize value addition of platinum close to source, which is close to the mines, the three mines that we have in Zimbabwe. Because of that, foreign currency earnings have tripled to about 1.5 billion from platinum group of metals only. So if that is done to the rest of the minerals that we have, for example, gold, you've got lithium, you've got diamond, if that is done across the mining sector, then what happens now is the commodities multiply in terms of value.
Okay.
Yes.
Victor Boroma, thank you so much for shedding light on this. We appreciate that. And I will bring you more business stories. Economic and technological factors such as changes in legislation and regulation, cyber incidents, and macroeconomic development have emerged as joint top risks, with 36% of responses which businesses in Nigeria are mostly concerned about, according to the Alliance Risk Barometer. In the report, it highlighted changes in legislation and regulation, which climbed up from the 4th position in 2023 to become one of the most pressing concerns for reflecting the evolving regulatory landscape and the need for companies to adapt to new policies and compliance requirements. Based on the research work, cyber incidents such as ransomware attacks, data breaches, and IT disruptions are the biggest worry for companies globally in 2024. The closely interlinked peril of business interruption ranks second. Natural catastrophes up from number 6 to number 3 year on year. Fire explosion up from number 9 to number 6, and political risks, including violence, up from number 10 to number 8, are the biggest risers in the latest compilation of the top global business risks, based on the insights of more than 3,000 risk management professionals. Sports. Liverpool has officially announced Mohamed Salah's return for rehabilitation. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we take another look at some of our major stories. Liberia's new president, Boakai, vows to tackle graft as he takes oath as president. Federal High Court in Abuja nullifies 2024 budget signed into law by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. And finally, we told you that U.S. Secretary of State Blinken lands in Cape Verde for first leg of 4-country African tour. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Likon Onobanjo.